or do you want me to say your last name as well?
Just Juliana is fine.
Okay. All the way from
We
Colombia.
are live now. You can
Hey, Mike.
Hey, baby, you running it tonight? You running it tonight, Bubba?
Yes, that's
Right.
the theory.
Isn't that putting the poachers in charge of the gamekeeping?
Well, it was, as we say, putting the fox in the hen house.
Mm. Yeah. Hi, Juliana. Hi, Louis.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, Mike.
Now you guys are making me hungry. So are we ready to go? Are we ready to go, Ali?
Says it's streaming.
Is that means the Facebook streaming as well?
I assume so, yeah. I think that's what you see when it starts. Shall I look on Facebook?
Okay.
Yes, Baba already. Yes, Baba already.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those assembled, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe and today's Friday Children's Edition, actually family edition. We have a traveling griot / storyteller, and her name is Juliana. She's from Columbia. I messed up my cue. She's from Columbus.
Colombia.
Colombia. Thank you.
In South America,
I got some.
country.
See, I'm in the District of Columbia. Okay, so
Exactly,
she's
which
from
is why you
Colombia,
have to clarify the spelling.
right? And right now she is visiting in Boston. So without further ado, on this Halloween Eve of Eves, ladies and gentlemen, Juliana.
Hello, buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, whatever time it may be, wherever you're listening from. Welcome to some stories tonight. I'm so excited to be telling to you, even though this method is quite rather strange. Now, we do have a dog right over here who is sleeping right now and snoring rather loudly. I'm not sure if you've been able to hear her, but she'll probably wake up for the stories in a little bit. Now, it is almost Halloween, and I have been researching some more slightly spooky stories, but since it's for kids today, we're not going to do anything too scary. But how about we start with the story of a witch? All right, so 1, 2, 3. This is the story of a witch, an evil, powerful, dark witch. And her sister had just died. I know that's very sad and everything, but she was not sad at all because she was a witch and she knew exactly how to bring her sister back to life. And so that night, around the body of her sister, she lit all the appropriate candles, recited all the appropriate spells, sacrificed the appropriate black cats. And just as it was nearing midnight, she began to chant, "May life come back to this room. May life come back to this room. May life come back to this room. May life come back to this room." And just as the clock struck 12, life came back to the room. The wilted flowers by the bedside perked up and smelled sweet again. The sister opened her eyes and smiled. And the bearskin rug jumped up off the floor and ate them both. The end. Now,
I could barely contain myself because I knew it was going to be a grisly ending. Mike, I apologize. Oh, warning, I'm a punster.
Bear with him, Juliana.
no, of course, that's
That was a
wonderful.
great tale.
Really, stories can't exist without the listener. And so even though you're far away and I don't have you right here, I'm trying to watch those tiny little videos up in the corner so that I can see how people are reacting, because that's what the story is all about. Now, I know there might be some more children connecting. So the next story is a kid's story. And this story is about ghosts and skeletons. It comes from the Native American Sioux tribe, and it begins with a man who was not afraid of anything. Now, I find that kind of strange. Me personally, I'm afraid of some things. And Louis, are you scared of anything? What kind of things are you scared? You're not scared of anything, really? Then maybe this story is about you, actually.
The
Because
wonder
this
of
man
youth.
was so brave that he was always bragging about he wasn't scared of anything. He was so brave that he would wander alone through the forest at night. And 4 ghost skeletons gathered together one night, and they were smoking their ghost pipes. And one of them said to the other, have you heard of this man who says he's not scared of anything? Oh, yes, he's been bragging about it for a long time. Well, said the ghost chief, I'll bet that's not true, because everybody is scared of something. So let's make a bet. There's this beautiful ghost horse, and we haven't been able to decide which of us will end up with this incredible ghost skeleton horse. Who shall it be? Let's bet the ghost horse. Let's all go into the forest tonight and scare the man. And whoever scares him the most wins the skeleton horse. Oh, the skeletons and the ghosts were so excited. And that night, just as the man was walking as he usually did through the dark forest, far from the village, la 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 la. The wind started blowing harder, breaking branches, whipping the man's hair, and suddenly, from behind the tree, hello, the first ghost skeleton stepped right out. Hello. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. But the man wasn't scared. The man said, oh, hi, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Funny you're out in such weather like this. Anyway, you're in my way. Can you move aside so I can walk by? Well, the skeleton, I'll show you the skeleton in a moment. The skeleton ghost said, no, before I move away, I want to play a game with you. And if you lose, I'll turn you into a skeleton like me. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. But the man wasn't scared. The man said, oh, I love to play games. That's so much fun. What shall we play? I don't have it. I know, let's play hoops. But we don't have any hoops. I know, I'll use you as a hoop. And the man grabbed the skeleton's skull, grabbed his head, grabbed the skeleton's feet, and before the skeleton knew it, whoop, the skeleton was up in the air. The man was grabbing the skeleton's feet, tying them up to the skeleton's skull, and turning the skeleton into a big round hoop. All right, now I'm gonna race you down the hill. And then he started pushing the skeleton hoop, but then he said, wait, I need a stick. And ow! He yanked a bone off of the skeleton and started pushing the skeleton. And the skeleton was going over and over and over. Someone was saying, ow, 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 stop, you're hurting me. The man finally stopped and said, well, looks like I win then. So I win the game. And besides, if you're hurting me, well, sorry. If I'm hurting you, sorry about that. But whose idea was it to play a game anyway? Your idea. So next time, don't go around telling people You're going to turn them into skeletons. And the man tossed the bone, the leg bone that he had yanked off the skeleton, far off into the bushes. And then he left the rest of the skeleton all tied up with its legs tied up around its neck. Hey, said the skeleton, wait, how am I going to find my leg bone? Well, said the man, that's your problem. But never mind. I mean, all you have is time, right? It'll give you something to do. Bye-bye. And the man kept on walking. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. And then the wind began to blow harder. And from behind a tree, the second skeleton stepped out. Hello. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. But the man wasn't scared. The man was like, Lewis. The man was like, The man said, oh, hi, how's it going? You managed to find your leg bone quickly and untie yourself. Well, because he didn't realize it was a second skeleton, he thought it was the same. Well, the second skeleton said, hello. And then the second skeleton grabbed onto the man's arms. You are going to dance with me. And if you don't, I'll turn you into a skeleton like me. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. The man wasn't scared. I think this story actually is about you, Lewis. The man wasn't scared at all. The man said, oh, I love dancing. That's great. Yeah, but wait a minute. We don't have any music. I don't see it. I know. And the man reached up and grabbed the skeleton's skull and pulled it right off its body. And then, as the skeleton's skull was yelling, hey, wait, the man ripped off the skeleton's arms and started pounding on the skeleton's skull. You'll make a nice drum. Da, 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 da. And the skeleton was like, ow, 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 ow. Meanwhile, the man started dancing around. Yee, this is fun. Da, 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 ow, 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 ow. And finally, the skeleton shouted, stop, you're giving me a headache. A headache? Said the man. I thought skeletons, ghosts didn't feel any pain. But, oh well, I'll stop. Although you're being kind of a party pooper. I was having so much fun dancing and playing music. Next time, don't invite somebody to dance if you don't have the music ready. And next time, you probably shouldn't go around telling people that you're going to turn them into skeletons. And so the man tossed the skull way out into the bushes and then tossed the arms way off into some other bushes and then the other arm way off into some other bushes. And then he kept on walking. Wait, said the skull deep from within the bushes. Where's my bones? It's going to take me hours to find myself and put myself back together again. Too bad, said the man. You have time. Besides, you shouldn't go around telling people. You're going to turn them into skeletons. And so he kept on walking. Da, 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 da. And the wind started blowing even harder. And then the third skeleton stepped out. Oh, hi, said the man. Didn't I just toss you in the bushes back there? No, said the skeleton. Those were my cousins, but they're weak. Me, I'm tough, really tough. You and I, we're gonna fight. And if you lose, I'll turn you into a skeleton like me. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. But the man wasn't scared. The man said, nah, fighting is boring. I don't like to fight. You know what? I know what I want to do. Let's go sledding. Sledding is fun. And the man grabbed the skeleton's ribs, yanked them right off the skeleton's body, jumped in them, and went whee! All the way down the hill that was covered in snow. But then started getting further down and there was less snow and there were rocks and he started whee, boing, boing, ow, 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 ow. Meanwhile, the skeleton's ribs were going boing, 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 ow, 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 whee! And finally he got to the bottom of the hill. Meanwhile, the skeleton's skull and arms and legs were like, my bones, crawling down the hill, chasing after its ribs. And the man finally stood up and said, that was fun. By then, the skeleton arms and legs and skull had caught up and said, you broke my bones. The man picked up what was left of the rib cage. Oh yeah, sorry about that. But you said you were tough. How was I supposed to know the bones were gonna break? Oh, they got all dirty too. Oh well, we'll clean them off for you. And he threw the rib cage into the river. Oh, said the skeleton. What am I going to do without my ribs? How do I get my ribs back? The man said, well, just jump into the river and get them. Besides, I don't want to say anything, but you could use a bath. You're kind of stinky. Those bones are all moldering. It'll be good if you bathe in the river. Your woman will appreciate it. Ah, said the skeleton. What do you mean? I am a woman. Oh, said the man. Sorry about that, sweetheart. With bones, you can never tell. Bye-bye. And he kept on walking. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da. The wind started blowing harder than ever. And the man's hair was blowing behind his face. And then, as the mist swirled around the forest, suddenly, right in front of him, was the skeleton horse. And on top of that skeleton horse was the skeleton ghost chief. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. The man wasn't scared. The man said, oh, hi. Man, that was quick. You got out of that. Oh, wait, no, you're a different one. Anyway, what do you want to do then? Do you want to play a game? From up on top of the horse, the skeleton ghost chief said, no. Well, do you want to dance? No. Do you want to fight? No. I want to kill you. Would you be scared? I'd be scared. And the man was a teeny bit scared. But the man, he knew something really important. And for any kids that might be listening in, if you don't know this already, this tip, it's a life hack. Now, if you are kind of scared of something that's really scary, like if you hear a noise in the night and you don't know where it comes from, what you need to do is you need to show that scary, creepy thing that you're scarier than it is. And so if you hear a noise in the night that goes, you gotta go roar and assert dominance. And so as you're walking through your house in the dark and you hear creak, you just go roar and you growl and roar all throughout the house, and all the ghosts are gonna get scared and hide. The man was a little bit scared of the ghost skeleton on a ghost chief on the ghost horse, but the man also knew that he had to say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna kill me? Well, not if I kill you first." And so he jumped up and grabbed the skeleton ghost chief and pulled it off the horse. And the skeleton ghost chief was not used to that. Skeleton ghost chief had never encountered anybody to pull him off his horse before. And the skeleton ghost chief said, and the man said, "Ha!" and yanked off the skeleton ghost's head and tossed it into the forest. "Whoa!" said the skeleton ghost chief. "Wait a minute!" "Ha!" said the man. "I'm going to scatter your bones, and then I'm going to stomp on them, and then I'm going to burn them, and then I'm going to eat them." Said the ghost chief. "No!" And all the bones are running away, trying to run away as fast as they could. The ghost horse started running away too, but the man said, "Oh, no, you're mine." The man grabbed onto the skeleton horse, jumped up, and raced that horse all the way into the village. Now, the sun was almost about to come up. The night was almost over, and people heard the gallop, 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 gallop of a horse coming in, and everybody raced out to see what was going on. And they saw a man riding on a skeleton horse. Would you be scared? I'd be scared, and they were scared. Even the dog is scared. Now, everyone, when they saw the man riding in on a skeleton ghost horse, they ran everywhere. And the man said, I'm not scared of anything, anything, anything. And just as the sun came up, the skeleton ghost horse melted away. The man fell onto the ground, stood up laughing. "Ha ha ha, that was a wonderful ride." And people slowly started peering out of their houses, coming out, and the man was strutting around. "I'm not scared of anything." And the people, after having seen him ride on that ghost horse, started saying, "It's true. He's not scared of anything." And that night, they made a great big fire and they had a great big feast to celebrate that there was somebody who wasn't scared of anything. The man was munching, drinking, having a great time and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not scared." But just as he picked up another piece of delicious meat, he saw something. Something that made him freeze. Something that made him go pale. Something that made him start sweating and trembling. And his hand holding the meat just trembled. His eyes got big. What do you think? The man who wasn't scared of anything had seen something that terrified him. Would you be scared? If I saw the man who was so terrified, I might be scared. And everybody froze as well and stared at him as he was staring with his hand trembling. And then they saw what it was. And finally, the man found his voice. Get away from me! Get away from me! Please save me! No! And everybody started to laugh. And a little girl came and picked it up. "You mean this little spider?" "Ah! I hate spiders! Get them away from me!" Because you see, everybody is scared of something. And that's okay. Yeah.
Brilliant. That story was spooky and funny. No bones about it. And you weren't horsing around.
I love that. All
That is
right.
great.
Well, how much time do we have? We have about
Actually, you have at least another 15, 20 minutes or longer if you like.
okay, perfect. Well, in that case, I'm going to tell you another somewhat spooky story that comes from Mexico. Now, this is a story about a boy who had a very, very sad life. His parents had just died, and he didn't have any money, any food, or even any place to live. And so he started wandering around. He was, of course, very sad, but he also knew that he had to survive. And in order to survive, he had to get a job. He had to keep going with life. Now, he asked for a job all over the city, but nobody wanted to hire him. He was very young, after all. And finally, he realized that there was nothing for him in the city. And so he kept on walking out of the city towards the desert. And along the way, he was so tired. He was walking, and then he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around quickly, and he saw that coming behind him, also walking through the desert, just as the sun was setting behind the rocks, there was a man, a very tall, distinguished looking man, carrying a walking stick with a long beard and dressed completely in black. Well, the clothes that this man could have been you. I hope not. Well, well, the man's clothing looked very fine and very expensive. You could tell that this man had a lot of money. And the boy thought, well, maybe this man can give me a job. And he went straight up to him and said, excuse me, sir, do you might have any job that I can do? I'm a very good worker, and I'm very honest, and I'll follow your instructions perfectly. Really? Said the man, looking the boy up and down. I do actually need a boy to take care of my library, organize my books, clean my house. I do have a very big library. Now tell me, boy, do you know how to read? Of course, said the boy. Oh yes, I love to read. Now, my parents died, and I couldn't go to school, but I taught myself anyway. I'm super smart. And I'm like, then no, said the man. No, I need a boy who is not smart at all. I need a boy who does not know how to read. Oh, now that is very strange. Normally, people will more easily hire somebody who wants to read, but as the man was walking away, leaving the boy just standing, staring at him in the dust, he thought, taking care of a library? That's my dream job. Oh, how do I get this? Well, turns out that the boy was pretty smart. And so he called out, excuse me, mister, well, look, and he raced right after him. Look, if you can't hire me, then maybe my twin brother will be a good fit for your job. You see, I have a twin brother. He's further ahead down the path. He looks exactly like me, except that, well, he's kind of dumb. He's not lazy. I mean, he's a good worker too, but he never learned how to read. He hated it. We tried to teach him, but he just refused. He's not curious about anything. All he wants to do is, he'll do what you tell him to, but other than that, he just sleeps. Really? Said the man. But he is a good worker, you say. Oh, yes, a very good worker. He doesn't talk a lot. He's not very smart. Very well. If I see him, I'll talk to him. And the man kept on walking. Meanwhile, the boy snuck behind a rock because, of course, it was a lie. He didn't have a twin brother, but he was hoping that a man who would be stupid enough to hire somebody who didn't know how to read and who didn't like to read and who didn't want to read and to need specifically somebody who wasn't smart, well, he was hoping that this person wouldn't be very smart himself. And so he changed his hair, he changed his shirt because he had an extra one, and he raced around a shortcut and waited on the path. And he was sitting on a rock, chewing a piece of grass. I'm trying to look as stupid as possible. And just then, the man came down the path. "Excuse me, are you the boy who does not know how to read?" "Uh-huh." "Do you want a job?" "Uh-huh." "Come along then." "Uh-huh." And the boy followed the tall, elegant man, all dressed in black, deep, deep, deep into the forest, until they came to a huge, sprawling adobe mansion. Oh, it was beautiful, and it was lonely, and it was dark. Well, the man let the boy in, and as soon as he stepped inside, there were books all along the ceiling, piled up on the tables and on the chairs, books all over the place. And the boy's eyes started to shine because he loved to read, but he quickly pretended not to. And as soon as the man gave him a broom, he started sweeping and dusting and organizing things, and he did a very good job. "Very well," said the man, "you can stay. And here is a gold coin for your troubles." Well, the boy had it made. He had a place to live, he had a place to eat, he had a job that was giving him real money. But he was so curious about those books. And so one night, after the man had gone to sleep in his room, the boy snuck back into the library and carefully took one book off the shelf. Now, he had noticed that none of the books had titles on them, at least not as he was just kind of moving them around and cleaning them and organizing them. But as soon as he opened the book, the book was a book of witchcraft. And it had all these powerful, evil spells. And as the boy flipped through the pages, oh no, this was bad magic. He quickly put that book away and pulled another one and opened it up. And it was the same. It had different spells, of course. It was a different book. They were even worse than the first book he looked at. And pretty soon he realized that all the books in the library were books of darkness. And the boy realized that the man he was working for must be a very powerful, evil wizard. And now he was trapped, because now that if the wizard ever found out that he knew how to read and that he'd been deceived, well, the boy wouldn't be able to escape. The only way to escape was by reading all of the books and becoming an even more powerful wizard than the man. Well, every single night, very, very, very quietly, very carefully, the boy took books from the shelf, studied them, learned them, and very quietly, very carefully, he started practicing the spells. And as the years went by, he was a fast reader. He was quite smart and a fast learner. He did read every single book in the library, and he became an accomplished, powerful wizard. By now, he was no longer a boy, but a young man. He had read every single book in the library, some of them several times. One day, as the wizard was gone on a long trip, sometimes he would leave for days at a time, The boy was walking past the wizard's room. Now, the wizard's room was a room that he had never been allowed to go into. The wizard didn't want him to clean that room. He always kept the door closed and locked. But by now, the boy had been living with the wizard for so many years that the wizard let down his guard. And this time, as the boy walked past, he saw that the door was open just a little bit. And as he looked through that crack in the door, what do you think he saw? Another book. The biggest book that he had ever seen. It was sitting on a desk. It was closed. It was wrapped in 6 different chains with 6 different locks. And it looked as if it was dripping blood. Well, the boy knew that this book had to be the most powerful knowledge of all. He had to know. It wouldn't be safe if the wizard had access to this magic and he didn't. And so carefully, he stepped inside the room and recited the right spells to pop open the locks of the book. And then, carefully, he lifted the corner. As soon as he lifted the corner of the book and opened it up, the book started screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming. And he closed the book as fast as he could, but it was too late. This was the book of souls. This was the list of all the souls that were going to hell. And the boy realized that the wizard was actually not a wizard. It was none other than El Diablo, the devil himself. The boy closed the book, locked it up again, but it was too late. From far away, El Diablo had heard the screams of the souls, and poof, he appeared, just popped out of nowhere inside the room. And as he saw the boy desperately trying to put the last lock on the book and leaving it on the desk, El Diablo said, "You!" And he reached out and grabbed the boy and started choking him. Well, poof, the boy instantly turned into a tiny little mouse, because remember that the boy had learned lots of magic. The boy turned into a tiny little mouse, scurried out of the devil's hands, and raced away towards a little hole in the wall. Well, the devil was not going to let him get away. Poof! The devil turned into a cat. Meow! Pounced on the mouse, grabbed it. Poof! The boy turned into a dove and flepped and flew away and flew out the window. Poof! The devil turned into a hawk and screeched after the dove, grabbing the dove in its claws. Poof! The boy turned into a turtle, a heavy turtle, and the hawk wasn't able to carry it, and the turtle fell all the way from the sky onto the hard ground below. And the turtle shell was cracked into pieces. That's why if you look at turtles today, the shells all have these kind of cracks in them. But the boy wasn't hurt because he was a turtle and he had this big hard shell that protected him, and the boy was fine. But he wasn't going to come out of that shell. He waited and hid. And the devil screeched around as a hawk. Nothing happened. The boy, the turtle, did not come out of his shell. Finally, the devil realized this boy is very clever. This boy, if I want to catch this boy, I will have to trick him. And so, poof, the hawk disappeared. And the boy, waiting inside the turtle shell, waited, and nothing happened. He didn't hear anything. And finally, his little head peeked out, looked around. Nothing. All he could see was an innocent little leaf floating down on the wind and coming to rest on the ground. Well, the turtle stretched out his arms, pulled out his head, and the devil was in the leaf. The devil, as the leaf, just waited. The boy, as the turtle, started slowly walking towards the leaf. I'm so smart, thought the devil. I made myself look like a really delicious leaf that turtles like to eat. It's going to come up close, and as soon as it comes up close, I'm going to turn into my real figure and snatch him and carry him down to hell. Well, the turtle kept on coming. Slow. And the devil, meanwhile, was like, oh, I've forgotten that turtles are so slow. When is he going to hurry up? Come on. Slow. Slow. Snap! The turtle moved so quickly that the devil wasn't even able to react, and the turtle gobbled up that leaf. Nom, 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 nom. Hey! Cried the devil, and poof! The turtle turned back into a boy. Hey! Cried the devil from inside the boy's stomach. Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! The boy smiled. Really? You want me to let you out? All right then. And the boy went to the bathroom and pooped the devil out. Since then, the devil has been terrified of children. That's why they say in Latin America that children don't go to hell. I mean, if you die when you're little, it doesn't matter. Even if you show up at the gates of hell, it's like, my mommy said that if I was naughty, I was going to hell. The devil's like, I don't care what your mother said. Are you under 18? Get out of here. Out, out, back to heaven where you belong. Shoot. You have to grow up and become a legal adult and then do some bad things. And then maybe they'll let you in. But the devil is terrified of children, especially the ones who love to read.
Excellent story. It only goes to show that if you believe in yourself, you can flush the devil out. You are a wonderful storyteller. I'm really enjoying you. You are enthralling. You even kept Mike's attention. And so Mike and I have this little friendly thing going back and forth, okay? But you kept his attention. Louis is here, you know, and Louis, you know, he is our ultimate decider of storytellers. So Louis, are you enjoying Juliana's stories?
Yes.
I'm so glad.
Did you like
Hi, Louis.
Did you like her story about the man who feared nothing?
Yes.
And did you like this story about the devil and the boy?
Yes.
All right, keep on listening, Louis. Do you have another? I think you have time for one short story if you would like.
All right, then. This is a story that comes from Galicia in Spain. Now, it doesn't get quite cold enough to snow in the winter in Galicia, but it can get very cold, especially when the wind is beating against the windows. Now, in this story, there was a small village at the edge of a forest. And at the very edge of the forest, right at the very edge of the village, right where the forest began, was a small house. And in this house, there was a young mother sleeping. Well, no. She was trying to sleep, but she couldn't. Perhaps it was because of the wind. Perhaps it was because, You know, mothers sometimes have this sixth sense, this feeling that there's something wrong. Mommy! Instantly, the mother jumped up, raced out of her room, burst open the door to the bedroom of her little girl, and found her young daughter sitting straight up in bed with the covers pulled all the way up to her nose. Mommy, I'm scared. Oh, you scared me, child, said the mother. But as she looked at her little girl with those big wide eyes up above the blankets, her mother's heart just melted, flapped its wings, and flew to her. What are you scared of, sweetie? She said, flipping on the light. Mommy, I'm scared of vampires. Vampires, said her mother. Oh, sweetie, don't you remember all the stories I used to tell you about vampires? That's why I'm scared. Well then, if you had paid attention, then you would remember that vampires can only come into a house if you invite them in. Now, have you invited a vampire in recently? Well, I haven't either, so we have nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, said the little girl. I forgot. And she pulled the covers down until you could see her whole face, and the mother came and sat on the foot of the bed. But Mommy, the little girl said again, I'm also really scared of werewolves. Werewolves, said her mother, sitting down at the foot of the bed. Oh, sweetie, don't you remember all the stories I used to tell you about werewolves? That's why I'm scared. Well, if you had paid attention, then you would remember that werewolves can only come out during the full moon. Now, is it a full moon tonight? No, it was a few nights ago. It was still almost a month before we have to think about it. And besides, werewolves live deep in the forest. We're only on the edge of the forest. We have nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, said the little girl. I forgot. And she lay back down and seemed about to fall asleep when suddenly her eyes popped back open. She said, but Mommy, what I'm really, really, really scared of is ghosts. Ghosts, said her mother. Oh, sweetie, ghosts never mean to do us harm. What if one of them harms us without meaning to then? Mother smiled so sadly. Oh, my darling, you don't need to worry about that at all. Ghosts can only harm the living. Oh yeah, said the little girl. I forgot. And she fell asleep. And as she did, the mother reached out to tuck a strand of hair behind her daughter's ear. And as she did, the translucent figure of the little girl dissolved beneath her fingers. Good night, my child, said the mother, as she stood up and turned off the light. Rest in peace.
Whoa. Let me say that again. Whoa. Now that might be the most frightening story I've heard. Whoa. Yes. I was beginning to suspect, but whoa. Whew, that was a great story, Juliana, really. And when you were talking about vampires, I wrote in the chat that unfortunately, I'm used to vampires. I live in Washington, D.C., America's capital, and it's full of politicians.
Oh dear. Yeah, those are pretty scary, and they can sometimes come in whether you invite them in or not.
Whether you invite them or not. Everyone listening, both here in Zoom and on the Facebook and other social media platforms, let's give another rousing round of applause for Juliana.
Thank you.
Now you've done an exceptional job, because Mike and I usually are very naughty pseudo boys, because we're quite grown sometimes, and we send puns and bad jokes back and forth, but we've been so engaged. I think we've only done 4 or 5 during this whole hour. So you are indeed a phenomenal storyteller. Thank you very, very much. When you visit Washington, D.C., give me a couple of days notice, and maybe we can meet up for lunch or dinner, or just wave at each other from across the street. you know.
Yeah, of
So
course, for
I would look
sure.
forward to that. Yes, that's great. Stand by. I got to take care of a little business here. For those of you still tuning in, of course you're still tuned in. I need to remind you that this Sunday we don't have a storytelling round. I think because everyone will be busy being spectacular in their own ways. But come next Tuesday, November 2nd, we'll have the Young International Tellers, and we invite tellers 18 and younger from all around the globe to come and tell the tales they tell. And then on Friday, on the 6th, oh, by the way, Tuesday will be 5 p.m. UK time. And Friday at 6 p.m. UK time, we have Donald Nielsen. Hey, Mike, is it Nielsen or Nelson?
It's Nelson. He's fabulous.
Thank you. Here in the States, it can be said either way, which is why I check with Mike. Mike is my fact checker. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. And that'll be 6
Fact or
p.m.
fact? You say fact checker. That's a bit rude.
See what I mean? And then a Sunday, a week from this Sunday coming up at 6 p.m. UK time, we'll have Worldwide Storytelling Round, where we have storytellers from all around the world. It's the equivalent of open mic for storytellers. Juliana, if you are available, please, come in, and everyone is welcome to tell the tales they tell. And wherever John Rowe is, we're hoping you're having a great time. And this Sunday, beware things that go bump in the night, especially if the little girl's sleeping in. No, that'll sound wrong. Never mind. Anyhow, everyone have a great time, and we're getting ready to sign off. But one more time, another round of applause for Juliana.
Thank you. Mike was asking a question about I don't have a video channel at the moment, unfortunately, but I once in a while post a few things on social media, which you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Achira Stories, ACHIRA. Achira Stories.
Before we sign out, would you put that in the chat?
In the chat, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, does this mean she's chatting us up? Bump.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. And may stories guide you through life as they can also in death.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. So until the next time, everybody, I don't say goodbye. I say until the next time, to be continued.
Next year in Morocco.
All right. Oh, yes. Yes. See you in Morocco.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a great time. I know it's nighttime.
Bye.
Later, Louie. Oh, wow, Juliana, we're the only people where it's still just around noon. It's about 2:00 p.m. where we are. Where they are, it's late at night.
Mm-hmm.
So they're about to go to bed or go to dinner. I think we're about to have a late lunch.
Only 7 o'clock. Only 7 o'clock. For people that are younger than me, the night's barely begun. For me, it's nearly bedtime, obviously.
Yes, it was bedtime for you a couple of hours ago, Mike. But hey, I'm not saying anything because I get up 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when I do that, I have to take a nap around 3 or 4. And then I get up and go to bed.
But it means dying young.
I'll see you later. Thank you so much.
Let's give Louie the final word. Louie, any comments?
Yes, I am. Right.
All right. So you enjoyed. All right, everybody. This time we're going for real. Take care. Until the next time. Tell the tales you tell.
Thank you.
Bye, Betsy.
All right, Louie. Every time you join us, Louie, it's so great to have you around. Tell your mom that I said that you are a great listener, and I can't wait for you to tell a tale or two. Thanks, Louie. Thanks, Ali.
And I will tell you a storytelling. So I'll tell you a story next Friday.
Okay.
Only one day. One day.
All right, we'll work. I'll get John to let us work that in because you are the Louie of Louis. All right,
I am indeed.
All right, Ali, thank you very much, and you can take us out now, Ali. Until the next time, to be
good night and keep dancing.
All right, good folk, we're out.
Keep dancing.
Dancing and telling stories.
Keep dancing.
You haven't seen me dance.
Keep
All right,
dancing.
Louie, we're out
Oh,
of here.
keep dancing.
Take care.